The air was thick with secrets. England in the year 1605 was a nervous place. A new king sat on the throne, King James I. He was a Protestant king. Catholics in England felt uneasy. They felt watched. They whispered in quiet rooms. Their old faith was not welcome here. Laws were harsh. Hopes for freedom dwindled. This was a time of fear. A time when change felt impossible, yet some still dreamed of it. A dangerous dream. This night we speak of, Guy Fawkes' night, has deep roots. It digs into this troubled soil. It remembers a daring plan, a plan born of desperation. The gunpowder plot, they called it, a name that still echoes with bangs and flashes. It was a plot to change everything, to shatter the Protestant grip on power, to install a new ruler, one who would be kind to the old faith. A bold and terrifying idea, an idea that almost set a nation ablaze. The plotters were men driven to the edge. They saw no other way. Politics had failed them. Prayers seemed unanswered, so they turned to something more direct, something explosive. They believed their actions were just. They saw themselves as soldiers in a hidden war. A war for the soul of England. Their methods were extreme, their resolve was firm. They would strike at the heart of government. They would make the powerful listen, or so they thought. Imagine the darkness of those times, the flickering candlelight, the hushed conversations, the weight of a king's displeasure. This was the world that forged the gunpowder plot, a world of stark divisions, a world where belief could be a death sentence. Understanding this helps us see why men would risk everything, why they would choose such a path. It was not just mischief, it was a desperate cry, a cry that would be remembered in fire. Who were these men, these shadows with a fiery purpose? One name stands out above all others, Guy Fawkes. He was the expert, the soldier, the man who knew gunpowder. He wasn't the leader, not really, but his name became the symbol. He was the one found in the cellar, waiting, ready to ignite the fuse. Fawkes was a man of action, a man of conviction. He believed in his cause. He was willing to die for it and to kill for it. The true mastermind was another, Robert Catesby. He was charismatic, persuasive. He gathered the others, he fueled their anger. He painted a picture of a new England, an England free from King James, an England where Catholics could worship openly. Catesby was the architect of the rebellion. The others included Thomas Wintour, Jack Wright, and Thomas Percy. Each had their reasons. Each carried their share of the risk. They were a small group, a tight circle of conspirators, united by faith and frustration. Their objective was devastatingly simple and horribly ambitious. They planned to blow up the Houses of Parliament. They would do it on the day of the state opening. The king would be there. His family would be there. The Lords and Commons would be there. All the heads of the Protestant state in one place at one time. One massive explosion. One clean sweep. They aimed to decapitate the government, to create chaos. From that chaos they hoped a Catholic monarch would rise. It was a desperate gamble, a throw of the dice with the highest stakes. The lives of many hung in the balance, their own lives included. They rented a cellar right beneath the House of Lords. Slowly, carefully, they moved the gunpowder, barrel by barrel, 36 barrels in total, enough to obliterate the building, enough to change history, or so they believed. They were playing with fire in every sense of the word, a dangerous game with a kingdom. But secrets have a way of leaking out. Like water through cupped hands, an anonymous letter arrived, sent to Lord Monteagle. He was a Catholic peer. The letter warned him, stay away from Parliament. A terrible blow would be struck. Monteagle, perhaps wisely, perhaps fearfully, showed the letter to the authorities, the king's men. The warning was vague, but it was enough to spark suspicion. The plot began to unravel, slowly at first, then all at once. The king ordered a search. On the night of November 4th, into the early hours of November 5th, they searched the cellars beneath Parliament, and there they found him, Guy Fawkes, guarding his deadly treasure, the gunpowder, the matches, the fuse. He was arrested immediately. His part in the play was over. The game was up. The shadows had been pierced by light. The great explosion would not happen. The plot had failed, utterly. What happened to the conspirators? It was not pleasant. Fawkes was interrogated, tortured. The Tower of London knew such methods well. He revealed the names of his fellows. The others fled, but they were hunted down. Some died, resisting arrest. Others, like Fawkes and Catesby, who was killed in a shootout, faced a traitor's death, hanged, drawn and quartered. A brutal end to a brutal plan. The state made an example of them. a warning to any others who might dare. The news spread like wildfire. Relief mixed with outrage. The king had been saved. Parliament was safe. Londoners rejoiced. They lit bonfires to celebrate the king's deliverance, to mark the failure of the plot. This was the beginning, the first bonfire night, an impromptu celebration born from fear and survival. The government encouraged these celebrations. Remember the treason, remember the traitors, remember the king's escape. The 5th of November became a date to remember. And so we still remember, every year, on the 5th of November. The sky explodes with light, fireworks crackle and boom, not the sound of doom Guy Fawkes planned, but a sound of celebration. Bonfires blaze across the country. On top often sits an effigy, a guy, a figure made of old clothes and straw, a stand-in for Fawkes himself. Children parade these guys. Penny for the guy, they call. A tradition passed down, a strange echo of a failed rebel. The phrase still rings true. Remember, remember the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason and plot. We are told not to forget the plot may have failed, but the idea of it lingers. The image of Guy Fawkes himself has changed. He is more than just a historical villain. He's become a symbol, especially his mask. That pale, smiling face, made famous by a comic book, by a film, it represents anonymity. It represents rebellion against systems, against control. People wear this mask at protests all over the world, from streets in Europe to squares in America. They stand against governments, against corporations, against ideas they oppose. The mask hides their identity, but it unites them in a shared image, an image of defiance. Guy Fawkes, the man, wanted to restore a Catholic monarchy. A specific religious aim, the mask, the symbol, now means much more. It means resistance. It is an idea. And ideas, as they say, are bulletproof. So Guy Fawkes' night is more than just fireworks. It is more than just history. It is a reflection, a mirror showing us things about power, about dissent, about how events from centuries ago can still cast long shadows. It reminds us that underneath the order of society there are always currents, sometimes quiet, sometimes explosive. The night serves as a reminder, to question, to remember, and perhaps to understand the echoes of that long-ago plot in our own complex times. The story continues, the fire still burns.